Okay, so carrying on with compound interest, you can see here, we're technically multiplying by 1.10 each time. Okay, we're taking our new number, multiplying by 1.10. When we multiply our terms to get to the next term, we know this from our last unit as geometric. Okay? So here, if we look at it in terms of sequences and series, we don't know what our term is, but I know I started my A value with $1,000. The rate that I'm multiplying by is 1.10, my 10% I'm adding each time. And we'll look at the sixth term. Okay? So here, when I do that, I have, okay, Tn equals A times R to the n minus 1. That's my formula. Okay? Should look very familiar. Now, if I do term 6, I have $1,000 as my starting amount. My R is 1.10, my N is 6, so I have 6 minus 1, and that'll just simplify to 1.10 to the power of 5. Okay? So now looking here, we have, okay, we're gonna, just like how here for simple interest, we took this and we created our own thing and then derived our formula for simple interest, we're gonna do the same thing here. So we start with sequences and series connections. I look at this and basically what I'm saying is that this is term 6 equals $1,000. And then 1.10 can just be written as 1 plus 0.10 to the power of 5. Okay, so let's pull this apart just like how we did here. So this is my final amount. Okay, the 1,000 is my starting amount. This is quite literally just a 1. This is my interest rate as a decimal. And this 5 is my number of years. Okay, so that's that equation pulled apart. So my formula, since we're not using these same variables like T, N, A, and those variables, this consolidates and derives back down to A equals P times 1 plus I to the N. And all this is saying is this is my final amount, so is this. A is my final amount. This is my starting amount, so is P. P is my principal, it's my starting amount. This is just a 1, so is this. And I add my interest rate, which is I, to the power of my number of years, which is N. Okay, so that's the formula for compound interest. Now here, we're going to look at a comparison. Exact same questions, except one is simple interest, one is compound interest. Okay? So we have Mark invests $5,000 in an account that earns 3% simple interest per year. How much will he have in 5 years? Okay, let's look at this. So we're going to highlight a couple of things. So you know where the highlighters are. $5,000 is important. That's what I initially invest, okay? I'm earning 3% simple interest per year. How much will I have in 5 years? Okay, so A, which is my final amount, this is what I don't know. I don't know that. I'm trying to find my final amount. P is my principal, okay? My principal is basically like A from sequences and series, which is my starting amount, so $5,000. My interest rate is 3% simple interest per year. Well, how do I write 3% as a decimal? If I do 3% divided by 100, you will get 0.03. Okay? And your N is 5. Okay, because 5 years. So then here, I'm going to say, okay, let me use my equation. So I have A equals P times 1 plus I n. Now, IN means I times n, okay? A is my final amount. That's what I don't know. P is my principal, so $5,000, my starting amount. 1, just a 1. I'm actually going to do a square bracket here because then I have 1 plus I, so 0.03 times n, 5. Okay? So then I solve and I get A equals 5,000. BEDMAS tells me I need to do brackets first. I get 1.15 in my brackets. You can do that in multiple steps if you need. And I get A equals $5,750. So I get, therefore, Mark will have $5,750. Okay? So that's for simple interest. Now let's do the exact same question, except this time we still have $5,000 invested originally, 3% interest per year, but this time it's compounded annually. How much will he have in 5 years? So everything's the same, except this time our interest is compounded annually. Okay. So again, I'm trying to find my final amount. That's what I don't know. P is my principal. That's my original investment, $5,000. I is 3% per year, so 0.03. And N, I'm looking for in 5 years. Okay, so let me use my equation for compound interest. I have A equals P times 1 plus I to the power of N. That's my equation for compound interest. Okay, so here I have A, which I don't know. 5,000 is P. 1 plus my interest is 0.03 to the power of N, which is 5. Simplify that, and I get 5,000 times 1.03 to the power of 5. Plug that all into your calculator. Remember BEDMAS. This is a package deal. A lot of you still forget that. You can't just do 5,000 times this to the power of this. It's only 1.03 to the power of 5. Okay? So then you plug that all in and you will get 5,796.37. Therefore, Mark will have $5,796.37 at the end of 5 years. Okay, so obviously for compounded interest, we actually made more money. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, but down here, we're going to look at Angela, simple interest versus compound interest. So Angela invests $200 in a bond that earns 10% simple interest per year. How much will she have in 20 years? So she invested $200. It's 10% simple interest. How much will she have in 20 years? So again, we're looking for the final amount, is what I don't know. My principal is what I initially invested, $200. My interest rate is 0.10, and my N is 20. 0.10 because it's 10% simple interest. 10% as a decimal is 0.10. So now I'm going to use my equation for simple interest. Okay, I have P times 1 plus IN. A is what I don't know. My principal is 200. Then I have my square brackets. 1 plus 0.10 is my I times my N, which is 20. And I can simplify that. That will all equal 3 in my brackets. And I get A equals $600. Okay, is what it simplifies to. Then I have here, therefore, Angela will have $600. Okay? So that's for simple interest. Angela will earn $600. Now here, I have Angela invests, again, $200. So that's my P, my principal. in a bond that earns 10% interest per year again, but this time it's compounded annually. How much will she have in 20 years? So still 20 years. So again, what's my final amount? I don't know. My principal is still $200. My interest is still 10%, so 0.10, and my N is still 20. The only thing that changes now is my formula that I use. So I have A equals P times 1 plus I to the power of N. Now here I have A equals my P, my principal is 200, times 1 plus my interest rate, 0.10. It's a rate, so it's a decimal. To the power of 20 is my N. Okay, this simplifies to A equals 200 times 1.10 to the power of 20. And again, remember BEDMAS. This is a package deal, so I have to do that first in my calculator and then multiply by 200. And you will get A equals $1,345.50. So therefore, Angela will have $1,345.50. Now, if you compare those two, obviously for compound interest, Angela made so much more money, over double. Okay, so in some cases, compound interest is so much more beneficial. Okay, so that's simple interest versus compound interest. The next page is your homework. Okay, and it gives you the answers. There's 7 questions there. So you can do that. Okay, the answers are there to check your work. All right. Okay.